All right, quarterfinals have finished. 4 teams remain. We'll talk about it all here on this week's quarterfinals post-game show of Massachusetts. I'm joined by my boys Davis, DJ, Jake, some familiar faces to the pod, and of course, shout out 110 Grill, our sponsor, as always. Let's just get right into it. We'll go right into our first game. That's Reapers B2A. And Reapers took this one in a close one, 64-59 over B2A. It was a lot closer than I thought it was going to be. I was hyping up Reapers last week on the pod and saying they were like a number 2 team, but they played a little worse than I thought they would today. Yala led the way, 29 points. Isaac Lane had 15 points. Another memorable stat, Carlos Bermudez clean, 5 steals. I mean, this guy would have averaged 5 steals if he played the entire season. It's crazy how many steals and rebounds this guy gets from being so small on the court. Amande Weaver led the way, familiar leading scorer for B2A. It seems every week, or at least every other week, it's him. 21 points, 12 rebounds. Anthony Cabrera, 15 points. They were without Gio tonight. I think one of their better players. So that was definitely a hit for them. I know some of their lineups, they were trying to figure things out. They got lineups they didn't want to down late into the game. And I don't know if that's just under the pressure of the game, not putting in the right guys at the right time, but it's playoffs. You kind of got to lock in, and that's probably one of the reasons they didn't pull this one out. But it was a close one. B2A had a lead with like 50 seconds left, and they turned over the ball trying to make a play. I really don't think they needed to. I think they could have held the ball for the full minute. There's no shot clock, so they could have waited for the foul to come, and it just did not turn out for them. Free throws down the line also screwed them up. So, yeah, but no Gio for B2A. I'm not sure if any of you guys were even on this game, but Jake, talk about the B2A season. Talk about what kind of was their downfall per se on some of these games that they've lost. I know you weren't on this game exactly, but what seems to be the issue they need to look at?
Yeah, I mean, B2A had a pretty interesting season. They started off really hot. I thought they were going to be one of the top teams, which they still were, but I think their MO is kind of being an emotional team, right? And I think from what I've heard and seen in a couple games towards the end of the season is they kind of let emotions get the best of them, right? And when that happens, you're not really focused and locked in on the game. And like you said, that kind of crunch time moments there, when you need a play and you don't get one, it's tough. But yeah.
Yeah, basketball is a mental game. They do a good job of getting in people's heads, but sometimes they get in their own heads, and it costs them, especially on plays where, you're just disjointed on defense, running fast, the other team's running a fast break, and you're, still mad about the last play. It's tough to get locked in, especially when your teammates are mad at you. It's just tough in general, but yeah, they could have won this one, honestly. They really could have won this one against a full stack Reapers, which is the team we've been talking about all season, that saying that they're scary, this and that. And B2A without their full roster almost beat them. So, if Gio's there, if Jiraj was able to play, I know obviously he was hurt, but if he was playing, this was a B2A win for sure, I think. So Reapers got away with a little close, not an easy one, definitely not an easy one, but a close one here. They got a little lucky there at the end. Kevin Views had a bit of a quiet night, but his leadership when he's either on the bench or on the court is, I think, big enough to make an impact. And he was always vocal with his team. So yeah, I think they played a good game. They played true to themselves, and they came out on top, even though it was closer than we thought it should have been. But yeah, we'll see what they look like next week. We'll go into our next game. I know you guys were on this one, so we'll talk about it. Run It Up FTG. Yeah, and this was also a 5-point game. Run It Up won it 72-67. They played the week prior, the last week of the season. It was also a close game. So coming into this, we were 50-50 on who was taking this one. I said Run It Up if they had their full roster, and they didn't have their full roster. Marcus did not show up, and they still came away with this win. And that is to thanks to Sean Yard, the guy I've been calling out all season, saying, he's been having a slump season. He finished with 32 points. He lit it up tonight. Tack Gomes, 19 points, a bit quieter for him. He got hurt kind of late into this game. I think maybe was it 5 minutes left, I think. But he toughed it out, stuck in the game. He had a nice dunk right after. He kept his team in it definitely. For FTG, Denzel Lyles led the way. He's led them, I think, almost every game he's played in. 26 points, 11 rebounds. He's really hard to defend out there, but um, they were able to contain the rest of them. Ethan was only held to 12 points. He only took 4 shots. Not that's not what we're used to seeing with Ethan, but he did everything else: 11 rebounds, 5 assists. Um, yeah, two very close games. If they play 10 times, honestly, it could be 5 games either way. Um, but run up not having a full roster into the playoffs is a bit scary because looking to next week they got Team ASAP, so we'll talk about it later. But they're gonna want their full team, and if you guys can't show up to the playoffs, it's very risky. Davis, I'll go to you. Run it up. Sean Yard locked in this game. Talk about his performance and why he was able to lead them to this win.
I mean, yeah, Sean Yard is just an elite shooter. He was lights out this game, shooting 11 and 15 from the floor, 6 for 7 from three, and also chipped in with 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Was just solid all around. And I mean, he was a great leader out there. He hit a couple of threes in a row. Late in the game, he got super hyped, kind of brought the team up, and I think that's kind of what sealed the deal. There, it's like I think maybe like a tied game, like at 63, and Sean Yard hits like three threes in a row, and it's just like he's such a huge momentum shifter, that guy. So yeah, he was big time for them.
Yeah, they needed momentum in that second half because they were down big. I think they were down 12 going into that, and FTG kind of slacked off. Let Sean Yard get hot, not closing out fully on some of his shots, and just Sean Yard won the 3-point contest last season in the All-Star week. Everyone knows he can shoot, but they kind of gave him too much space too many times, and 6 for 7's crazy in the playoffs, especially in a close game. Two of those threes is what wins you the game. DJ, I'll go to you. FTG, definitely not a team that should have the record they have. I think if they have a full team, this game could have gone differently. They're missing guys. But yeah, talk about FTG before we send them off this season.
Yeah, FTG played great. Um, they were leading the whole game until that last quarter. Just they did a good job of containing Tack most of the game. Just at the end right there, just started to really just lock in. They just started to start outscoring them 31-19. That last quarter is really just their downfall. If they just held up doing the same stuff they were doing the first 3 quarters, they would have won this game. But you hate to see it.
Yeah, when things start going your way, you kind of start to panic, and yeah, and that's just what happened with FTG. They kind of fell apart as soon as Sean Yard kind of went on that run. They fell apart. So um, yeah, we'll move on to the next game. A bit of a blowout for this next game. That's ASAP versus Top Dogs. And I mean, this is what we expected from this game. Top Dogs had a tough season. They didn't have all their guys. I don't know if they played a single week with all their teams or all their players on their team. So ASAP took this one 118-66. For Top Dogs, Freddie Milligan, 21 points. Nick Bokelman, 18 points. Threw down a nasty windmill at the last second. That's my boy, so I have to give him a shout out for that. That was nice. Well, literally a buzzer beater windmill at the end of the game. No one saw it coming. I saw everyone's reaction. They're like, "What, dude? Did not know he could do that." I didn't know he could do that. Yeah, for ASAP, honestly, any of these guys could have been the leading scorer. They could have said, Mason, Zeki, you guys are going to be the leading scorer of this game, and they could have been. But Shaq finally showing back up. He played the first, I think, 3 or 4 games, hadn't shown up for the rest of the season. I'm not sure if he got hurt or, if he was just waiting for when it mattered to show up. And it showed. He showed up for ASAP, 36 points. Crazy night to show up after missing like 4 games in a row. Joe Secator, 26 points. Bit of a quiet night for Noah, but obviously not needed. not really too much to say here because we expected it. Jake, before we say goodbye to the top dogs, talk about like this team has potential. I don't. They beat a squad. They beat the squad in a good game without Cody Crawford. Talk about this team. If they get like a true big man and Cody shows up for the season, talk about how this team could look in another season.
No, I think that's exactly what they need is a big man. I think they definitely need a paint protector, just because I think they get outsized by a lot of teams and outmuscled in the paint. But like you said, I think they're still a promising squad. I mean, when they have their full team, they have a lot of three-point shooters, which is dangerous, and they play that system where they're all kind of on the same wavelength, basically. So I mean, you can't really be disappointed with this one. Team ASAP's loaded, and they had their whole roster. But I mean, they put up a good fight. They didn't quit. But yeah.
I mean, they scored 66 points against one of the best teams in Legacy without Jared Hansen, their leading scorer, which is impressive. Whether or not the defense was all there for ASAP is another thing. They were up almost 50. So, yeah, I hope Top Dogs try to make a comeback. Honestly, I want to see this team do good. I think they have a lot of good pieces, but they have too many of a certain piece, if that makes sense. They have too many shooters, I think. So maybe spread out their game plan a little bit when it comes to maybe getting a rebounder or a paint protector, or just somebody that can attack the paint because no one's really expecting them to go to the paint. And Zach Green, whenever he went to the paint, it kind of caught the other teams off guard, and he was successful in the paint this season. So I want to see him come back. He's always a good guy. He's always a nice guy to talk to. So I want to see all those guys. They honestly seemed like they had better chemistry than most teams that know each other, and all these guys hadn't played with each other before. So that's pretty cool. But that's just basketball. We'll go into our last game, A1 versus the Squad. All right, a bit of a closer one, I think, than we thought it was going to be. A1 took this one 70-56. Hendel 21 points, Darwin 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Yeah. Squad Musa at 20 points, Jason 15. It was kind of an A1 kind of constant lead at least past halftime. I think we were only up 2 at halftime, but we kind of got a 10-point lead and just contained it for the entire game. We were making sloppy plays though, a lot of turnovers. We're not really used to doing that. I think we just got complacent and just, we thought we were going to win, and maybe that's just what screwed with our heads a little bit. We didn't want to go out there and kill them like we usually want to, especially like we just beat ASAP by 20 last week, and we come out and beat the Squad by 14. It's weird. ASAP or A1 tends to play down to their opponents, and it's shown again here. But we're gonna look different next week, I know. 100% shooting from the field from the supporting cast at A1. That kind of just shows, what we do on the bench. To help out our guys. H didn't have a great shooting night. He still led the way, but still having 100% from your guys coming off the bench is what you need. That's literally like all you can ask for, or the most you can ask for, really. So, DJ, talk about A1 and their depth, I guess. Yeah, just talk about A1 for now. I know you guys weren't on this side, but
Yeah, A1's just probably the most complete team in the league, which is why they're the number 1 seed. Like you said, their bench going 100% from the field to help support Hendel when he's not having his best night is really just perfect. And can't forget Cade Ryan shooting 100%, 8 points, 2 for 2 from 3. That's really a highlight of the night, I'd say.
yeah, definitely a highlight of my night. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. Last second heave buzzer beater. Sent a little prayer with that one and went in. So that was fun. The Squad though, Davis, I'll go to you just to send off the Squad. Good team, but I think they're missing maybe just a point guard. I think that's what they need. I know it's kind of positionless basketball, especially on 8.5 foot, but talk about, you know, somebody that can take the ball, take care of the ball on offense, because they tend to have a lot of turnovers. So talk about what that team could look like with a pure, playmaker.
I mean, yeah, I think this is a good team. I really do think it is. I think they just need one more piece to complement guys like Musa, Marquise. I think they just need like one more kind of third, like player that can just contribute with them. Point guard, preferably. I could definitely see that improving the team a lot. I mean, they put up a pretty good fight against A1 too. I claimed last week that that A1 was going to win, but like that'd be closer than you think. So I'm pretty satisfied with my prediction there, and I just think the squad just needs honestly like one more piece and just needs more like just need a healthy roster. I think they can make some decent noise next year if they just get a player or two. Yeah.
Yeah, the squad have made some of these games close. I know they were the closest before A1 to beating ASAP. So I think there was an 8-point game against ASAP. So the squad plays good against these kind of better teams. Um, and I mean, they lost to like top dog. So it's kind of a hit or miss team when it comes to the squad. But if they get a couple playmakers on that team, it could be a scary team to look out for. But that wraps it up for the quarterfinals games. I think, yeah, the higher seed won each game, so it wasn't any crazy upsets. But yeah, we'll go into the semifinals talk here. We call it the 110 grill question of the week, but now it's kind of just turning into the discussion of the week. And now we're getting to the semifinals. These are the best two matchups I think we could have. Being able to or having to predict these games is cruel. It's going to be hard. It's like picking between the classic cheeseburger or the chicken sandwich or the pulled pork sandwich versus the steak and cheese. At the 110 grill. So it's going to be hard to predict. That being said, I'm gonna make you guys predict it, and you guys are going to have to stand on your decisions and upset some guys. And yeah, so we'll talk about our first game. That game being ASAP versus Run It Up. And like we always say, Run It Up with a full roster is a team that can compete with anybody. You saw they had a full roster against A1, and that was a buzzer beater win for A1. Yeah, so they can compete with a top team. I don't see ASAP blowing out Run It Up like they did Top Dog. So DJ, I'll go to you. Give me a prediction. Give me a little insight on that prediction, and then we'll move on to the next guy.
Yeah, I'd say if Shaq shows up to the next game for ASAP, I think ASAP will have no problem. Just having someone else besides Noah James that is basically like another number one option is really helpful. And I think if they have that, then they'll be able to win this week.
Yeah, Shaq, I mean, he's just a pure shooter. His shot is so clean, and when he goes on streaks, you can't really stop him. He'll pull up from deep. So having that kind of, I guess, shooting guard option is really nice. And even Joe Secador, if Joe Secador comes, that's another option for Noah. So yeah, Jake, I'll go to you. Who you picking?
Yeah, so I'm kind of thinking the same as DJ with this one. I think Team ASAP should win this one pretty easily. I just think from top to bottom, you know, they have no holes. They got big men, they got guys who can carry the ball up, they got plenty of shooters, and they play with a lot of confidence, but at the same time they play loose and they have fun. And I think that kind of brand of basketball is it's what you want in the playoffs because you don't want to be too tense. And I think they have that down pretty well. They play as a team. And I mean, when Shaq does what he did last night, it's hard to defend. He just looks effortless out there. Like it's just so easy for him. But I'm gonna take Team ASAP.
No, I swear the last 3 seasons Shaq's been in Massachusetts, we always say his game just looks effortless. It's just something he's kind of nonchalant kind of attitude towards the game is just what makes it look so cool. He just, quick little layup with like you don't expect him to go up with such a fast like release too, and his game is just smooth, kind of like Paul George. That's what we always say. So, Davis, are you gonna give us a little run up pick here, or you sticking with ASAP?
I think I am gonna stick with ASAP here, but like both teams are really even. I'm gonna lean towards ASAP though, just because I feel like they have more depth, slightly more shooting. I think they just have more consistency too as well. I mean, you also can kind of say fire, like just like star power too. I just feel like it's more than what Run It Up has. Run It Up is a great trio of Tat Gomes and Sean Yard, Marcus Collins, but I feel like ASAP has just more talent overall and just a lot of shooters to watch out for.
Yeah, I think Run Up will struggle with the bigger guys. They usually tend to put Casey Key or Marcus down there, defending them, but they have like Zeki and Mason Joyce, and if everyone shows up for ASAP, that's a lot of options, and it's gonna be hard to kind of have Casey guarding one of those bigger guys because they're both bigger than him. Um, I'm gonna stick with ASAP. I think they're just a more complete team. But if Run Up shows up full force, it's going to be a very close game, I think. And Marcus is definitely a difference for Run Up, and when he's there, we'll know he's there. Um, so yeah, I think it'll be closer than a lot of us think. I think when they first played, Run Up was up at halftime, I think, and ASAP kind of pulled away in that second half. So if Run Up just locks in, we could see a, legacy performance from Tack Gomes. We haven't seen him. We said he knows how to lock in when he needs to. So this week he didn't really, have to when Sean Yard was doing all of that. But if Tack Gomes just takes over and shoots lights out, this could be a very interesting game. But it seems ASAP is the favorite here. And we'll move on to our next one. That is A1 Reapers. Reapers beat A1 recently. A1 beat them earlier in the season. I would say this is a rivalry for the Legacy Leagues because they've gone back and forth these last few seasons. Um, and a lot riding for both teams. A1 wants to go back to back. Reapers wants to make their third finals in a row. So this is a very huge game. Series is tied this season, 1-1. A1 was missing a few guys last time they played, but you know, we'll see what Reapers come out with. And DJ, I'll go to you. So just pick who do you think's got this?
Yeah, I bet against A1 once and I lost, so I'm gonna take A1 this time. Not making the same mistake again.
Yes, sir. I like that. Jake, let me hear it.
Give me the Reapers. I just think they got a lot of momentum right now. They started playing a different style of basketball towards the end of the season, and I just think they got a lot of confidence. And like you said, having Carlos, it's a difference maker because him on the defensive end, you hate having to go against him. He's one of those guys who's just annoying because you know he's gonna be all over you. So I'm gonna have to take the Reapers.
All right, 1-1 Reapers. Davis.
I'm gonna make the safe pick here and go with A1. I feel like they're just, I feel like they're the consensus, most dominant team here, and I think they're gonna just prove it, in this matchup as well. Though I think it'll be very close though too, but I definitely like to, what A1 has going for them. I think they'll can definitely make it to the finals, and they also only lost once, so I don't know. I mean, obviously it can happen again, but I feel like it's slim.
And you guys already know I'm sticking with A1. I can't bet against me and my guys. So I do think it'll be a tough one. Reapers have what they need to be a championship team. Um, I think these are the two most complete rosters going into the semifinals. So just when it comes to defense and hustle, Reapers and A1 I think are on top of ASAP and run it up. So it's going to be an interesting one. A1, I'm not going to, talk about our game plan too much, but you guys know we have it. We always look into our matchups, so we're going to be ready. We want a win. We don't like how Reapers, beat us last time. So we're going to show up for sure, and we're going to be ready. So yeah, that wraps it up this week. Not crazy discussions, We're locked into the playoffs. Everybody's locked in. Um, yeah, and we'll join you guys, or hopefully you all will join us next week when we're talking about our finals matchups, and then onto our All-Star and finals discussion. So a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of exciting stuff ahead of us. Shout out DJ, shout out Jake, shout out Davis, shout out 110 Grill. Thank you all for listening. I'm your host, Cade. Peace.